The name of this track is Web 2.0 Risks. Anybody here got a Facebook account? Cool. Anybody use Twitter? Nice. Great potential victims. All right. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to look a little bit back here because, the only way you can really understand where things are going moving forward is to take a look at history. I mean, that's just the way things work in life. Remember when security meant just keeping your AV signatures up to date? Yeah? I mean, it was the bottom line, but you had those AV signatures turned on, it was on automatic, it kind of helped clean things up on your environment. How many signature updates are you getting nowadays? Some pretty big packages, huh? 30 million vulnerabilities in the avtest.org database. Remember when the security officer was a guy at the desk in the lobby? Yeah. How about browsing? Browsing was something you did at the mall, okay? Identity theft was nothing more than turning in somebody else's homework. And, of course, data loss was not remembering where you put your car keys. Those days are long gone. We live in a Web 2.0 world today, and it's really not a fault of the tools that are used to develop the Web 2.0 platforms. Ajax, wonderful multi-threaded language. It's great. Unfortunately, though, being a multi-threaded language, it's very difficult to test all of the possible user interaction that can happen within a Web 2.0 environment. We have this issue with communities today. I like to refer to them as communities of misapplied trust, right? Everybody has an implicit trust for their friends in Facebook, their connections in LinkedIn, etc. The bad guys simply take advantage of that implied trust on a regular basis and absolutely hammer us. And, of course, we have mashups in RSS feeds today, incredibly popular. I've seen RSS feeds from major providers out there had a little bit of embedded JavaScript that didn't exactly do what you and I would have intended a script to do. Can absolutely become a problem today. And, to me, the bottom line there is, the guy that originally put that site up is not taking any responsibility for the data that's being mashed up into the site. They're not taking responsibility for the RSS feeds. Creates a serious issue. Now, Web 2.0 by and of itself is not inherently bad. It can be a very effective tool. It should be embraced with security properly applied. Now, the social media landscape is absolutely expanding. One of the big issues with social media today is people seem to have forgotten that once something is posted to the internet, it's there forever. Now, because of the implied trust, it's really making it easy for the bad guys today. When you get that connection coming in saying, hey, I found a video of you on the internet, click here. Chances are, because it came from a friend, you will trust it, you will click on it. And it's because of the implied trust that we put on the friends that are tied to us through Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Now, you really also have to consider just who you can trust today. Does anybody use Google Alerts? I do. I tend to get out in the press every once in a while, so I just do a search, or I should say I set up an alert for Paul Henry Secure. And I typically get a couple of alerts a day. Well, I got this one, and I just found it rather interesting because it was just a bunch of garbled text beyond the link. You got to understand, I'm sitting there with my Mac, and I decide, well, I'm going to go ahead and try this out, see where this link leads me. I click on the link, and immediately I get this pop-up telling me that my Windows PC is infected. I just thought that was kind of cool, being on a Mac, having it list out all of the Windows DLLs that are apparently infected. And it gave me the opportunity to purchase a solution that would clean up my desktop, $49.95. Reasonable price, but you got to consider that if you buy that, you're giving your credit card number to a bad guy. Kind of funny. I've got some wonderful screenshots of it. Just ironic that I'm being told how infected my Windows PC is as I'm browsing with my Mac. This is a serious issue today. It's one of the biggest money-making scams on the net. If you're surfing the web and you get a pop-up that even closely resembles this, AB 2009 was this one. There's many variations of it. Immediately, literally, exit out of everything, shut the machine down, bring it back up. Do not click the links. If you mistakenly do click the link, first thing that happens is you are no longer the administrator of that machine. You now have very, very low user right capability. You can't even do a directory of your C drive. A lot of people have asked me, well, how do I clean it up? The only real way to clean it up is to literally wipe that drive and start from scratch. Hopefully you've got backups. You will not be able to clean that up through the registry, et cetera. It's just an impossible task to wipe out this fake AV software. So what can you do? We'll drill into it in detail in a second, but my favorite mantra is patch wide and patch fast. You know, if you turn on WSUS today as an example, all you're patching is the Windows operating system and the Windows applications. You're not patching any of the other stuff on your machine. More importantly, you're not patching the add-ons. Anybody here use any Adobe products tied to your browser? You use Flash, all that fun stuff? Turning on WSUS does not patch the add-ons. That's a problem today. It really has created a false sense of security among the user community themselves. You think you got it covered by turning on WSUS. You don't. You really don't. On the patch fast side, we'll drill into that more in a minute, but we've got to get away from this lackadaisical attitude toward applying patches. You need to do it sooner than later. It truly is a problem. And of course, we have to shift our approach to security overall. We've had too much focus on the gateway for the last decade or so. We really need to push down to the endpoint today. Too easy to get around those gateway defenses. Now, WSUS by and of itself, it truly is not enough today. You have to patch the add-ons, you have to patch the other extraneous applications, or you're leaving yourself wide open to attack. 71.2% of the attacks exploited a single vulnerability for which a security update exists. You know, there's a lot of stats out there that really back up the need for deploying your patches in a timely manner. You guys are familiar with all the drive-by malware out there, a ton of it out there. Do you realize that the typical drive-by malware still relies on an exploit that's 7 to 12 months old? It's because we don't patch. Why should a vulnerability that's a year old still be effective? We're not patching, guys. We're getting lazy when it comes to securing those endpoints, and the bad guys know it and they're taking full advantage of it. Now, overall with malware, we actually saw a decline in the last year in the number of instances of new vulnerabilities publicly reported. Yet at the same time, the actual number of instances of that malware has exploded. You know, the bad guys have figured out that we're all using signatures to protect ourselves, whether it be AV, IDS, IPS, etc. So they're adding a little bit of obfuscation to it. By obfuscating it, they're changing a single byte. When you run that through and check it against a signature, it no longer matches. That malware is just going to blow right through that gateway device. You know, we're approaching 30 million signatures in the avtest.org database. Large number of signatures. We simply don't have the computing power to test every packet that traverses the gateway against 30 million signatures. Truly is a problem today. I personally believe that obfuscation has literally obsoleted traditional signature-based defenses. Again, I'm not talking specifically about AV. It's across the board. AV, IDS, IPS, anything that relies upon a signature to try to block all the bad, a bad guy can throw your way. Now, we have to start thinking differently along those lines. With this large number of signatures we have to defend ourselves against today, it's kind of flipped over on us. It is now easier, less administratively burdensome to properly configure a whitelist environment than a blacklist environment. A couple of questions for you real quick. You configure a whitelist environment. Bad guy passes the malware to you. Hits the gateway, number one, it's not a policy-enabled piece of software. It's not permitted to run. Number two, it doesn't match the trust model's hash, indicating that that's a known good piece of software. By default, in a whitelist environment, you're protected even from day zero threats. You can't say that about the older blacklist methodology. Highly encourage you to take a look at the shift from blacklist to whitelist. I think it truly is the future. Any vendor you talk to today has a whitelist story. It's in their roadmap. We can deliver whitelisting today, a comprehensive application of it, and again, at the same time, reducing the administrative burden that's traditionally associated with whitelisting. So again, it's no longer relevant. Break from the old approach. Get with the times here, folks. What you're using in signature-based defenses have been obsolete for 5 years or more.